Ever feel like your brain could use a little pick-me-up? Especially before those early morning meetings?
Ooh, tell me about it.
Well, what if I told you the secret to sharper thinking might be hiding in your gym bag?
You're not talking about those protein bars again, are you?
Nope. Even better. We're diving into creatine today.
Creatine.
Yeah, the supplement bodybuilders swear by, but there's some really interesting new research suggesting it could be a brain booster, too.
Really? For years, it's been linked to muscle growth and all that. But enhancing cognitive function, how so?
That's what we're going to get into. We're looking at a major scientific review, actually, published just a couple months ago, and they analyzed data from 16 different studies.
16. That's impressive.
Yeah, it's not just like a one-off thing. They looked at data from over 490 people.
Wow.
And it wasn't just athletes either. We're talking everyday adults of all ages, taking the standard creatine.
Okay, so what were the big takeaways? Did they actually find a link between creatine and, like, brain power?
So the most consistent finding, and this is where it gets really interesting, is the impact on memory.
Really?
Across multiple studies, people taking creatine did better on memory tests. I don't know about you, but...
Is that why I can never remember where I put my keys?
Right.
Should I be upping my creatine?
Well, we'll get into the dosage a little bit later.
Exactly.
It's not quite as simple as that, but it does suggest that creatine could improve recall, boost your ability to remember facts and information, maybe even make it easier to learn new things.
Okay, now that is something I think we can all get behind.
Right.
Who wouldn't want a little help in the memory department?
Exactly.
So it's just memory, or is there more?
There's more.
Okay, tell me more.
It also showed some potential benefits for attention and processing speed.
Attention, really? So, like, helping me stay focused on those never-ending spreadsheets.
Yeah. Like, think about how much harder it is to concentrate when you're tired or stressed.
Oh, for sure.
This research suggests that creatine could actually help you stay focused for longer. So almost like creatine helps you hit the ignore distractions button in your brain or something.
Right. It's a little more complicated than that, but you're on the right track. And on top of that, it also seemed to boost processing speed, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So how quickly your brain takes in information and reacts, basically.
Exactly, yeah. For tasks that really need, that quick thinking, those findings are really interesting. But it gets even more interesting, actually.
I live for the it gets better moments, so lay it on me.
Okay, so the study found that creatine's effects might be even stronger for certain groups of people.
Okay, so we're talking personalized brain boosts now.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm all ears. So who saw the biggest benefits?
Well, for starters, people with underlying health conditions actually saw greater cognitive improvements than those who were completely healthy.
Wow, that's really interesting. You'd think a healthy brain would have a head start, wouldn't you?
You would think, right?
Yeah. What's the thinking there?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I think more research is needed to really figure it out. But it could suggest that creatine might actually have a role in, managing those conditions.
Yeah.
Not just as like a general supplement,
Right. Makes you wonder what else we might find out about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What other subgroups saw significant benefits?
Well, another interesting finding was the difference between age groups.
Okay.
Younger adults, those between 18 and 60, saw more noticeable improvements compared to, the over 60 crowd.
Interesting. So maybe not quite the fountain of youth, but it sounds like you could give younger brains a helpful edge. What about any differences between men and women?
This is where it gets really fascinating, actually.
Okay.
The study found that women taking creatine experienced much faster processing speeds than men.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah.
Faster processing. And let's be honest, we're typically the ones multitasking like crazy already. This is huge. It's remarkable. Yeah. And it really highlights how important it is to look at these kinds of subgroup differences in research,
Right.
It's not one size fits all when it comes to the brain.
No, definitely not. Okay, so we've uncovered some pretty positive potential for creatine here, like the memory stuff, attention, processing speed. But I have to ask, were there any areas where it didn't really seem to make a difference?
Yeah, that's a good question. So while those findings were impressive in those specific areas, the study didn't find a significant impact on overall cognitive function,
Yeah.
Across the board.
Right, so not a magic pill for instant genius then.
Not quite, no.
Okay.
Think of it more as like targeted enhancements, in specific areas rather than a complete cognitive overhaul.
Right.
And it's important to mention here that the researchers actually acknowledged that there were limitations with the tests they use to measure the overall cognitive function.
Oh, okay.
So they might not have been sensitive enough to pick up on more subtle changes, you know?
Okay, so more research is needed there for sure. Were there any other areas where the jury's still out?
Yeah, they also didn't see a big impact on what we call executive function.
Okay, and just remind me what that is again.
Yeah, so that's like your planning, organizing, decision-making, those higher-level thinking skills that we use every day.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Okay, so no boost to my organizational skills then.
Not this time.
Turn it! But again, more research needed, right?
Exactly. Yeah, this study gives us a really interesting glimpse into creatine's potential,
Hmm.
but yeah, it definitely opens up more questions than it answers.
Okay, so for those listening who are ready to, raid their pantry for a creatine fix, what's the final verdict here? Should we all be adding a scoop to our morning smoothies?
Well, look, if you're looking for a potential mental edge, I think this research definitely suggests that creatine's worth looking into, especially for women, given those, processing speed findings. However, we've got to remember this is just a starting point, right? It's not the be-all and end-all.
Right, we don't want people going on a creatine spree based on one episode.
No, definitely not. It's always best to, chat with your doctor before starting any new supplements, especially, if you have any health conditions or are taking meds already.
Yeah, for sure. Don't swap out your doctor's advice for a podcast.
Exactly.
But it does, it raises some exciting possibilities for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like we're just cracking open the door to a whole new world of like cognitive enhancement,
Mhm.
and it leaves us with so many questions like, what's the optimal dose
Right,
for brain benefits? Is it different from like the muscle building recommendations?
right, right.
And how long do the effects last? Is it something you have to take consistently, or is it, like a one-time boost?
And then there's the how. How does it even work? Like on a cellular level. What's
Mm.
the mechanism behind these brain gains?
Yeah, those are the million-dollar questions. If we can figure out those mechanisms, really unravel them, I mean, that could lead to even more targeted and effective ways to, boost brain power.
It's kind of wild to think that something as like readily available as creatine, you can just buy it pretty much anywhere, that it could have these kinds of effects on our brains.
It really is.
It makes you wonder, like, what other surprises are out there, What other everyday things like habits or substances might hold a key to, like, unlocking a little extra brain power? Who knows?
Such a good question, right? This research is a good reminder that, we still have so much to learn about the brain. But I feel like with each new discovery, we're getting closer, you know?
Yeah.
Closer to understanding how to really optimize our cognitive abilities.
And who knows, maybe in the future we'll look back and, forgetfulness and brain fog will just be distant memories.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Right. But until then, keep those brains engaged, stay curious, and as always, thanks for taking this deep dive with us.